Good morning. Okay, so it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I started a little bit later because, well, coming up to Christmas, everyone wants the van, and yeah, the last 2-3 days I may have had 8 hours sleep maximum, so I'm feeling it a little bit. Don't really like to have lay-ins, but sleep's a guilty pleasure of mine, so it is what it is. An extra hour in bed just to do an extra 3 hour shift. I've got to be up and out again at 8:30 in the morning to do another job, so it's not like I'm being lazy, just sort of recharging the batteries, if you like. What I wanted to touch on was what I touched on previously about parenting, because that old crap about parenting doesn't come with a guidebook. Everyone knows the saying, every parent knows that saying, and it is true, because everyone's parenting is dependent on the individual. Some like to raise their kids how they were raised, if they had adequate parents, or if their parents were good role models, taught them things that held them well in life, that they want to dispense to their children. Other parents learn from their parents' mistakes, and say, for example, your parents were one type of way with you while you was growing up, and you didn't particularly like it, you didn't appreciate it, it didn't sit well with you, so you turned around and said, you know what, when I'm a parent, I'm not going to do that, I'm going to try something different, what I feel's best. And then you've just got other parents out there that, to be truthful, just shouldn't be parents, just crap. You know, having a child is a gift. I personally believe it's a gift from God. God gives you whatever your definition of God is, but it gives you this living, breathing being that is half of you and half of your partner, making you whole, and your only job really in being a parent is making sure that you provide the best for your child. So this is why I don't understand why some parents out there just struggle with it. Yeah, you may have had a crap upbringing, or you may be dealing with some things as you're growing up, and you know, mental health problems and even the health problems, blah blah blah. So why would you pass that on to your kids? Why would you pass that trauma on? A bit crazy. But sometimes it's just built in your DNA. That's just who you are as a character, as a person, and you do it just because that's you, naturally. In the same way that some people are naturally prepositioned per, say, of OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. You know, some people just built in their DNA, they can't live around clutter, around mess. Everything has to be in a certain place. You know, I worked with someone for many years, worked in my mum and dad's factory. Mum and dad owned a business, like I spoke about. One of the workers turned around and told me, everything has a purpose and everything has a place. And if you live your life by that, to be fair, you become used to the whole spectrum of life, the whole aspect of it. Because that, within that saying itself, shows you that nothing is useless. You know, everything was put here for a reason. You may not agree with it, you may not understand it, but that's your ignorance. So sort it out. So, where that relates to me is I hate losing. I hate it. It's one of my pet peeves. Now, obviously, you can't win every time, and I understand that. So, become used to the fact of just accepting that no matter how good a performance you can put in, sometimes it's not just going to be your day. And I relate this to football because, again, being dyslexic and not academic, not going to lie, didn't really enjoy school, didn't really enjoy teachers. Like I spoke about previously, maybe only 4 teachers that I ever got on board with throughout my whole school career. So if you think that was 11 years in school, 11 years, and only 4 teachers that I actually thought anything of, out of the dozens and dozens of teachers I had. And out of that, my subjects really were history, PE, and I didn't mind science. I didn't mind science because you always learned something new, and then you'd have to somewhat unlearn it because science has a funny way of turning around on itself and going, actually, we've got that wrong. So, where that relates to me is in the fact that I don't like losing, especially when it comes to football. I take my daughter Ruby football every Wednesday. She's 7. She's obviously starting off, just learning the trade. I've been coaching her since she was 18 months, so that's a long time coaching. And I suppose in my own way, I expected to see level upon level upon level of growth, which, credit to her, she's always been there in excelling. And then about a fortnight ago, I wouldn't say she underperformed, she just didn't play to the best of her abilities, and I sort of let her know, but I let her know in the way that my dad used to let me know if I'd underperformed. And to be truthful, I upset her. And I was so in the moment of trying to let her know that it's not okay to turn up and play below what your normal standard is. Because if you set a standard and you start dropping it, then where does that stop? You say, alright, I only had a bad game today, and then the following week you'd be like, right, well, at least I had a better game than I did the week previous. But if you played like 50% below your normal performance, so for example an extra 10%, so now you can play 60% below your normal performance, go, well, at least I played better than I did last week. And yeah, I was robust. I think that's probably the best word to use. Very robust with Ruby. And lo and behold, it wasn't the best way to go around it. And now, obviously, people out there, you know it alls. Everyone knows one of them. You can never tell them anything, but they want to tell you everything, even though they've got fuck all results themselves. So it's like, why would I listen to you? Like, show me your results. You show me what you've done in your time, that you can stand there and pontificate at me and lecture me about stuff that I'm doing. You mean if I copy you, I'm going to end up just like you? So if you hold that opinion, whatever. I ain't listening, not unless you've got something for me to listen to. And it hit home that not only was I, in essence, becoming like my dad, which he's not completely bad and he's not wrong in a lot of what he says, but it's how he says it, and it's the, again, aggression's not the right word, but it's the intensity that it comes at you. It makes you feel some type of way. It makes you feel like you're less than what you actually are. And so within yourself, you feel demeaned and demotivated. So when you put that onto a 7-year-old who's just starting out, in theory, she's not even played a competitive game. Literally just train. It's unfair. It's unfair to do that, because you're coming at it from an adult's perspective, because you've been around the block. So you know what to take on board and what to forget about. Just let it. Water off a duck's back, that type of thing. But at such a fragile age, at learning your trade, you don't know how to take that. And again, in the moment, in the moment, I meant the best. I meant the best for her because I want the best for her. She's my world. She's my everything. All my kids are. And I only want the best for the lot of them. But in that moment, I could understand that actually come on everyone, let's go. Yeah, so in that moment, I let her down as a parent. And I suppose that's the point being, is that your kids don't really let you down. They can have off days, whether it's school, football, friendship groups, but they don't really let you down. They're learning still. You as an adult, you should have learned. And if you've not learned by the age of adulthood, then really you're never going to learn. And again, we all know these type of people. They never learn, always making the same mistakes and then crying about it later. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Oh, why is it always me? Because you're always making the same mistakes, stupid. That's why. So, eating humble pie, that's something I've been used to for a long time. So it's not a big deal for me to eat some humble pie. But what is a big deal for me now is that Wednesdays was always mine and Ruby's thing. Something that I always cherished every Wednesday. Without fail, like clockwork. Football. Dad, let's get ready for football. No worries, Ruby. You put your kit on, I'll put my kit on. Got your boots? I've got my boots. Got your shin pads? Yeah. Alright, it's cold out, don't forget your gloves and your hat. I won't, Dad, it's next to yours. And now it's come to a point where she's scared to go to football with me because I approached her in the way that my dad used to approach me. And so I've got to sit back now and I've got to accept that, again, this is where, if you've got a son compared to if you've got a daughter and you're taking them to football and you're coaching them, you do have to approach them differently. Boys, they can handle a little bit more in terms of schooling, disciplining them with a bit more energy. But girls, they need that warm, loving attentiveness. They don't need someone breathing down their neck saying, no, you've got to be better. You've got to be. It's always nice to be better week on week on week, but realistically it's not. Well, it's not realistic, you know, because how else are you going to learn if you don't make mistakes? And that goes through life. And again, if you're raising a young man, yeah, you can be like, look, the field of competition, it's hard out there, it's only getting harder, because you've got someone that's your age or younger that's hungrier than you, and they're going to take it and they're not going to say sorry. Whereas girls don't really come at it from that angle. But again, this is where the genders do differ, as much as some people like to believe that they don't, but they do. They differ quite drastically depending what type of arena you're entering. So if it's a competitive arena, yeah, as a man you're going to have to go in with more of a kill or be killed mentality, because that's how we're predisposed genetically, hunter-gatherers. Whereas women are more care and nurturers, so they don't go into an arena with a kill or be killed mentality. They go into an arena with loving and understanding and nurturing. So, long and short of it is as parents, you're going to get it wrong. That's why there is no manual, because everyone gets it wrong in their own way, in their own time, in their own space. Now, some people, some parents, they don't get it wrong straight away. They know how to nurture from youth up to a certain age, and then they get it wrong. 13, 14, 15, they go, don't understand why they're like this. Like, well, because that's how they've been raised. And some get it wrong straight away, but then as the child gets older and you learn more and more about your child, again, because children, even though they're a blank slate, they're a clean sheet of paper in essence, and you get to draft something on them, trying to mould them in the way that you would like them to be. They've got their own character. They're not a robot that you get to design. You're not putting wires in the back of something so it can just genetically be that way. You manufacture something, they're going to have their own personalities. They're their own person. And as they grow up, their personality changes depending on what they're seeing or going through. And that's why parenting is important, because your job role as the parent is to adjust to them. They don't really adjust to you, especially in today's time, the age of social media, where you've got everything on your phone. I mean, the iPhone I'm recording this off of now has more technology on it than the first space shuttle that went to the moon, if you believe that. We've actually been to the moon. Or the first computer, the phone. You can do absolutely everything on it. You obviously make your phone calls, you can text, you can WhatsApp, you can scroll anything on the internet, you can reach the other side of the world, like that. The time when I was growing up, we didn't even really have mobiles. By the time I think mobiles were really, everyone started to have one. You know, remember your old Ericssons and Nokia 3210s and stuff like that. I think I was about 13 when all that came out. So I come from a time where you call up your mate from your landline. Again, like if you're too young to know what a landline is, it's just like your normal house phone. I remember my nan, she had one of those old ones where you scrolled and it went back round. So you went 0, brr, 2, brr, 0, brr. Just touching buttons. You can even you hold a crypto wallet now on your phone. Your online banking, everything. And your child is growing up with that technology. It makes you more and more redundant as a parent the more and more you allow them to use that technology. Because whatever you're trying to teach them or give them knowledge on, they can just find that out at the click of a button. What took you years, sometimes decades to learn, they can learn it like that now. And I suppose that's where I'm going with it, is that time change, people change, technology changes, but one thing that doesn't really change is you as a parent, as an adult, because you're set in your ways now. You know who you are, you know what you are, you know where you're going. If you're any type of decent adult anyway. If you're an adult that you haven't got a clue who you are, what you are and where you're going, in essence you're just going to drift through life not knowing much. So then how can you expect your child to know? So, in conclusion to that, if you by chance have done the same thing with your son or daughter, and like me, you've been standing there for the last week beating yourself up because you know that your son or daughter is upset because of your actions, yeah, absolutely. Discipline yourself. Tell yourself that you should be better and learn from it. But don't think, again, you're alone. Because we all do it, we all have done it. And we probably will do it again at some point down the line. Because if you're like me and you love your child with every ounce in your body, then you're going to naturally want them to be the best. So I'm going to leave that here, but just know that it's never over, especially when your child's concerned. It's never going to be over. Even in death, it's never over because they have the memory of you. So be the best for your child. Love, cherish and care for them as much as you can, and just hope that whatever you've done for them in their younger years growing up into adulthood, so you're not skipping teenage years, but you would have given them the foundations to be the best version of them, so they can pass that on to their children, and then their children can pass that on to their children, and so on and so forth.